The camp of presidential frontrunner Bongbong Marcos has declared victory and is now preparing for his assumption to Malacanang. The Commission on Elections will look into reports of ballots being torn up by members of the National Police in Cotabato. Videos of the incident went viral, sparking concerns of possible election fraud. Health experts are flagging protocol violations on Election Day, which could result in a possible COVID-19 case surge as early as next week. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Numbers from the Octa Research Group's April presidential survey were very close to the actual vote count. To tell us more, we have with us Octa Research member Professor Guido David joining us on the show. Good evening, Professor Guido. What does this all say about surveys?
Hi, good evening, Sean, and to our viewers and listeners on One News. Well, surveys have been used since time immemorial. It's been a useful instrument for measuring sentiment and profile of the public since a long time, and it has been used to measure election preferences or voting preferences in past elections with a fairly good result.
Right, but I guess what I'm really asking, Professor Guido, is this all enough to regain the public's trust towards surveys?
Well, I hope so, because we are scientific. We conduct surveys, with all intents, to measure as accurately as possible the sentiment of the voting public. And I know we received some flack about surveys, but we hope that we have been, in a way, validated by the results. I mean, I'm not saying, we're not favoring any candidate one way or another. We're just presenting data as it is. And this is what it shows, and this is the reality, and they sort of match up.
Right, that matchup is pretty uncanny. Everyone would have to give it that. But the variance also between survey numbers and actual votes was a bit bigger in the senatorial race. Can you tell us why this is? Did we all see Robin Padilla emerging as the top Senate choice?
Well, we need to remember, Sean, that surveys are estimates of the perception, and it's a past estimate. So the survey that we most recently conducted was back in April 22 to 25. Sometimes there are still some changes in voter behavior just prior to the election. We heard that in 2016, there were about 1 out of 5 voters who made their decisions on the day itself. So it's very possible for changes to still occur. And although we actually got the top 12 in the Senate race correctly, so our latest survey showed the same top 12 as what actually was, the order was slightly different. And there were some that we got higher, but turned out to be a bit lower. And some, like, as you mentioned, Robin Padilla, we had him a little lower at number 6, and he turned out to be a very strong number 1. So that was a surprise. So there are things, of course, that are not measured accurately. But again, surveys are just estimates, and they're subject to errors as well.
All right, I'm just going to bring this up really quickly. On Election Day, just that morning, I saw your tweet. You were predicting 32 to 33 million votes for Bongbong Marcos, and between, I think, 14 or 15 or 15 to 16 million votes for Leni Robredo. This is also very, very close. How did you extrapolate or come up with these numbers?
Well, I just looked at the results, the partial results, and made projections. So that was basically it. And then we tried to estimate the number of the voter turnout. And like I mentioned, it's we got it more or less correctly.
Moving on to a related topic, there have been allegations of cheating circulating online where a lot of armchair statisticians claim there is a consistent 47% ratio between votes for Bongbong Marcos and Leni Robredo. Is this really impossible as they claim and therefore a matter of concern?
It's not a matter of concern, Sean. I'm just saying that based on the patterns that they were indicating or they were showing, this does not prove any anomaly. Okay.
And why
So
is that?
I want to be I want to be clear. It does not prove any anomaly. I can't speak for Comelec, and if you want to check for anything anomalous, people will have to go through the vote, reports and the cards themselves. But the updates came by millions, and they were occurring simultaneously all over the country, and therefore it was not being updated per region. If it was updated per region, there would be significant variations in the ratios, because if you update, let's say, if you bring in the numbers from Ilocos Norte or Ilocos region, it's heavily favoring Bongbong Marcos. But if you bring in the numbers from the Bicol region, it heavily favors VP Leni. But if they are all mixed and they're all coming in at the same time, the ratios would more or less be the same, because it's already mixed throughout the country, and you're updating, by 1 million votes every time. And if you do that, it's the law of large numbers, and roughly you get about the same ratio.
All right, thank you so much. I know you've explained this. I do follow you on Twitter, but thanks for parsing through that all over again for the benefit of our viewers. Now, a lot of health experts are expecting a surge in COVID-19 cases after the elections. I believe you guys have pretty much warned of the same thing. Do you still see this possibility, happening, another post-election COVID surge?
Well, there's a definite possibility or definite risk of that happening. We hope we're wrong, but we're seeing a surge in South Africa with the new Omicron subvariants BA.4 and the BA.5. And it's a concern because South Africa has a sort of similar characteristics as the Philippines. And, in just around 2 to 3 weeks, they went from 700 cases per day to about 10,000 now. And it could happen to us because we have the same, roughly similar characteristics, like we have vaccinations and exposures. But we're hoping it won't happen. And that's why we encourage Filipinos to, still comply with the health protocols, get themselves vaccinated, and get booster shots. And those are the keys to possibly preventing this from happening.
All right, as usual, thank you so much for sharing your time and insights with us. Octa Research member, Professor Guido David. Thank you, sir. And presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos is already taking the next step to the presidency as he continues to enjoy a very comfortable lead over his main rival, Leni Robredo. Marlene Alcaide joins us now from the Marcos headquarters in Mandaluyong City for more. Hi, Marlene. How's it going over there? And what is next for the Marcos camp now that most of the returns have been processed? All right, we'll fix that audio line with Marlene. Meanwhile, moving on to another piece of news. Here are the latest updates on the local election scene. Incumbent Davao City Vice Mayor Baste Duterte has been proclaimed as mayor, while his brother, Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte, retains his congressional seat. In Camarines Sur, Congressman Rolando Andaya lost to Luigi Villafuerte in the gubernatorial race. Luigi's father, El Rey, has secured another term in Congress as representative of Camarines Sur's 2nd District. Meanwhile, incumbent Manila Vice Mayor Honey Lacuna is set to become the city's first female mayor. However, she has yet to be officially proclaimed as the canvassing of votes in the city of Manila continues. We'll be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Let's circle back to one of our top stories. Presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos is already taking the next step to the presidency as he continues to enjoy a comfortable lead over his main rival, Leni Robredo. Marlene Alcaide joins us again from the Marcos headquarters in Mandaluyong City to give us the details. Hi, Marlene. What's going on there and what is next for the Marcos camp now that most of the election returns have been processed?
Hi, Sean. Presumptive President Bongbong Marcos will have a meeting to form his transition team sometime today. In a press briefing earlier today, Marcos spokesperson Attorney Vic Rodriguez says some personalities have already expressed interest to join Marcos Jr.'s cabinet even before the elections. He said Marcos did not entertain anyone because he wanted to finish the elections first. Among those who expressed intention to join the Marcos administration is Agriculture Secretary William Dar. Marcos had earlier said that he will make appointments based on work experience and capabilities and not on political color. This is in line with his call for unity, which has been the catalyst for his 2022 campaign. Marcos Jr. also visited the tomb of his father, former President Ferdinand Marcos, at the Libingan ng mga Bayani after Election Day. The late dictator has been at the Libingan since 2016. Marcos is on track to be the 17th president of the Philippines 36 years after his father was ousted from power. Marcos Jr. also went out to personally thank his supporters this afternoon. The former senator was all smiles as people cheered and raised their hands in the signature of peace sign. Sean, as of the moment, partial and unofficial results show Marcos with over 31 million votes, with Vice President Leni Robredo coming in at far second with 14.8 million. Almost 99% of election returns have been processed. Marcos's running mate, Sara Duterte, is also poised for a landslide victory with 31.5 million votes. Sean?
All right, Marlene, just one question. Do we have any idea who makes up this transition team of Bongbong Marcos? Any names?
We don't have any names yet as of the moment, Sean. We will have to wait. Actually, we are waiting for another press conference this evening, so we hope that they'll give us some details about that later tonight, Sean.
All right, so one more press conference to watch out for this evening. Thank you so much for that update. Marlene Alcaide reporting to us live from Bongbong Marcos' headquarters in Mandaluyong City. And the COMELEC says it will hold special elections in some areas in Lanao del Sur. These special elections will be held in the municipalities of Tubaran, Binidayan, and Butig. The provincial government of Lanao del Sur previously recommended the declaration of failure of elections after brawls and other election-related issues were reported in these areas. Meanwhile, the COMELEC is now investigating the reported tearing of ballots by some members of the National Police at some precincts in Cotabato City. Mon Gualvez with the report.
In this video, police can be seen tearing quite a number of ballots in this polling center in Cotabato City. In another video, a man can be heard questioning the police about some people holding more than one ballot inside a clustered precinct.
Hindi mo nakita yan, sir? Ha? Hindi mo nakita? Kayong wala yun nandito eh.
It is said that these videos, which have now become viral, have been shot in different polling centers in Cotabato City. Mayor Francis Cynthia Giani, who's running for re-election, believes the ballots in the video have been pre-shaded.
Makikita nyo doon sa mga naka-uniforme na mga lalaki at saka I think may mga babae din na nag-fill up. Mga BFEM yun, no? Bangsamoro Free Election Movement na nakalagay sa likod nila na may COMELEC pa. Talagang garapalan talaga yung pagkagawa na talagang sila lang yung nag-fill up. No? Sila lang yung nag-fill up nung ballots. No? At siyempre, kanya ang taas ng turnout ng votes doon.
The culprit, Giani's camp said, might be her opponent in the mayoralty, Bruce Matabalao, who's supported by the United Bangsamoro Justice Party or UBJP. But the UBJP denies the accusations.
Sinong may control doon sa election paraphernalia? Si Municipal Treasurer. Kaninong tao si Municipal Treasurer? Kay Mayor. Hindi naman kami incumbent. Wala kami noon. Sinong pwedeng mag-pre-shade niyan? Yung mga incumbent politicians na may access doon sa dokumento.
According to the COMELEC, it's standard procedure to tear up unused ballots before polls close. But authorities say they will still investigate the incident.
Simula nang matanggap po yan kahapon, nakita ko rin kaagad, ay kaagad ko pong pinadala yan sa aking sa secretariat ng, ako po kasi ang task force kontra fake news. Pinasabpina ng NBI yung po mga taong involved doon sa 5 video na sa aming palagay ay sumisira sa kredibilidad at integridad ng eleksyon. Pang-anim na po ito sa ire-refer namin ngayon sa NBI upang masabpina at maimbestigahan yung mga allegedly na mga pulis na yan.
Recall that police took over the elections in Cotabato City after final testing and sealing of vote counting machines got stalled due to back-to-back tensions that happened there over the weekend. After more than a day of canvassing, winners have finally been named. UBJP did a noisy motorcade around Cotabato City heading to the proclamation venue. But this also got stalled for hours. There was even a brownout. In the end, it was proclaimed by the Board of Canvassers that UBJP's bet, Bruce Matabalao, has won over the incumbent mayor of the city.
It's time to move on, dapat magkaroon na ng healing, magkaisa na tayo. Ang aming pangako sa tao ay magsisilbi kami para sa lahat. So walang color coding yung aming leadership sa Cotabato City once we take over the administration.
UBJP admits its support for the candidates is in preparation for the parliament type of government that they're pushing for Bangsamoro region by the year 2025. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.